Hi guys, it's Anna. This is Ben, but Anna will be talking right now. I just wanted to apologize for the delay and for how my voice might sound for the uploads coming out today or the next couple days. I am sick and I might sound a little congested and a little funny, and I have tissues with me, and we're good. We're good. I don't have a cough anymore, so that shouldn't be annoying to anyone because it shouldn't be happening. Cool. Hi, I'm Anna.
I'm Ben.
We're AutoSave. Welcome to our channel.
Today we're watching My Hero Academia Season 7, Episode 18. Last episode, we got a little information about how Toga's quirk actually works. This evolution of turning into people and then allowing her to be able to use those people's quirks has more of a specificity that we didn't really understand before. And from Sue's read on the situation, it seems to be on whether or not Toga likes a person or how she actually feels about a person. Mm-hmm. And that would be the reason that she wouldn't be able to use Dabi or Shigaraki's quirk, right, for example.
But she's even conflicted by this because she feels like she thought that she loved these people.
Yeah.
But so what is actually going on here?
Shiketsu's here. That's great. That makes me happy.
Helpful.
That's all we need.
I just need more Kami.
True.
Honestly. How about this whole next episode?
All Kami.
All Kami. The whole time. Kami and Toga. Yeah. Sorry.
Sorry. Sweet.
But not yet the worst.
It could be so much worse.
Yeah.
Cool.
The difference between love and like.
Wow. The real one was crying.
Woo! They started really strong there. Mm-hmm. Oh my god. They hit me with that's why she could see the tears. And I'm like, I'm tearing.
It's such an interesting, bridge to Uraraka's original, plea for her character. Who's going to help the people who help people?
Yeah.
Who's going to help the people who have been driven to this?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, with Inasa's quirk.
Look at him. Idea of a time limit. Yes! Angry fist.
Jesus Christ.
Look how young!
Is he younger?
Yeah! Remember, I think he was aging backwards.
Is it only a matter of time before he's non-existent then?
He's a baby. Seeing him younger is fucking with me.
What?
Excuse me? The voice.
Mm-hmm. Not the worst.
That's pretty bad. Wait.
Oh, Shinso brainwashed Gigantomachia. What the fuck?
What the?
I didn't even think about that.
What the? Look at Minato's awesome action shot there. It's like the same with the glove. The voice was in it to get to Kurogiri. Amazing.
Gigantomachia は起こしちゃいけない。心の傷そのものだから。
Finishing her sentence like that.
これは無事完了した。分断作戦の裏で人相ここへワープ移送し、戦地から離れた場所にかくまった。こうなった時に備えて。
Just in case something like this happened.
マキアにしてんの。やべえ。バレた。マキアが
The fucking slime dude from the first episode. Oh shit!
I didn't even realize it would hurt her.
It's
Makes
stronger
sense,
than
though.
she can handle.
Oh, stop.
Work up like the resistance.
Like the acid burns on her hands. What is it?
Midnight. Oh, look, the pigmentation's leaving.
Look at her horns.
たちも私たちもそうやってできてるんでしょ。
いくらわめこうが声は届かぬ。こいつはたまらない。マキア。
Oh my god.
マキア。浮いてる奴らを止めるんだ。
So good! I love them.
Mina's so fucking cool, dude.
I love them!
I love that it connects it back to Machia, since that was the first thing integral with their backstory.
The threads we've barely connected get cut.
真相の洗脳で攻撃させているのか。だから賭けだ。青山一家が僕をどう欺いたのかガテンが言った。
Shinso's quirk. Is he gonna target him?
それは僕のやり方だろう。
That's how I do things.
真相一つの洗脳は解けたらマキアの支配権を奪われる。姿を違えど匂いでわかる。オールフォーワン。主よ、なぜ俺を置いていった。真相が喋らせているのか。
Whoa. I wonder if he's more of Shigaraki's now.
この先僕は姿を消す。いずれ僕の後継がお前を求めるよ。
The crying with Uraka and Toga.
オールフォーワンの匂いと声だった。あれは確かにあなただった。ずっと信じて待っていたのに。 主が俺を置き去りに
Wow.
逃げ出した。ブリアに続いて2人目だよ。洗脳に抗ってきた奴は。なぜだ主よ。なぜ俺を置いていった。
What happens when you treat everyone like a pawn?
こいつ自身の怒りに相乗りする時間を作ってセーフティーでいるだけだ。ヴィランのやり方ってのはよく言われる。でも俺の個性で
Can't manipulate someone's heart.
操れない。ついてこないっぽいっすね。
No one's going along with your story
あんたの物語にはオルフォーワンが消えるまで抑え続けろ。
until he disappears.
ボロキレのような男、雄英の子だったとは聞いてたけど、自分の仕事はよく見返してるから覚えてる。体育祭に出る前のあの子。
Wow.
Wow.
1年前はあんなビクビクしてた。何かせずにはいられないって気持ちになってんの。
付き合わせて申し訳ありません。
付き合わされた覚えはねえな。
ギガントマキアの銃弾によって私の母は重傷を負いました。ジャーナリズムとは言えない支援だから、これも私事なんです。
Do right by
会
them.
社が止まってりゃ給料も出ねえ。仕事じゃねえな。
I love that.
そうです。
It's not like they're not getting paid for what they're
戦い
doing.
から降りゆく仲間を横目に戦場に残ることを選択した。あるいはせざるを得なかった。
No choice but to stay.
日本は終わったと各国で報道されています。まだ戦っている人がいることを私も伝えられる。ですから届けます。
From
Wow.
movie 1.
勝つにせよ
Two.
負けるにせよ。
日本ってどこ？僕知ってる。オールマイトがいたとこだよ。もう敵からの拾い物しかない。なんでもいい。
What the fuck?
魔王を叩き続けられれば。
Her eyes just think.
Oh shit.
殺処分だ。
Oh, what the fuck?
クズが。
This voice actor is so familiar.
この腹にもどす黒いものが生じ始めた。若返るほど抑えが効かなくなる感じだ。個性のポテンシャルをより引き出せる。止めるな。いいねってのは。
It's like being young almost makes him stronger.
ここまで追い詰めた。彼の個性をもらう。
No.
No.
どけよ。十分頑張ったろ。ホークス。強欲。因子がただれている。
No.
よく戦い。外部扱って巻き戻しに。クソだ。
Just like take. Did you see that? Like pulling the sword out just by.
高速度が上がっている。
Mineta going up against All for One is fucking crazy.
でも中二の痛いやつになるだけだぞ。おいらのモキモキどれやこれ。最高の髪型になれるぞ。常闇からシャドウ飛んじゃねえ
Take mine, not his.
よ。あんたのせいで友達が。
The crying. The crying is the through line in this episode.
今は1分1秒が欲しい。何も守れなかったな、ヒーロー。まだ希望は。
He didn't take Dark Shadow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that was My Hero Academia Season 7, Episode 18. Well, I felt like we got a lot that episode.
Mm-hmm.
A ton.
It feels like the ending especially bridged to the episode prior, episode 17.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure episode 17's name was Hopes. And for Hawks to be like, there's still hope at the very end of this episode is nice. Also a good bridging with like bringing the media into things.
Yeah. I thought you brought up an interesting point in the episode about like the correlation of all the tears coming from people.
That really crying seemed to be the theme of this episode, or one of the themes. And it definitely calls upon things that happened in like Shoji's episode and stuff. Like, like making my friends cry type energy. Koda gets almost this new look head.
Yeah.
And Mina's horns straighten out and are bigger. And so there's really cool things that are happening that are weaving all of these episodes together, which I feel like that in itself was even brought up in this episode, of like the fact that One for All is spinning a story.
Mm-hmm.
And we also have a line in this episode about like the threads kind of barely hanging on that are being sewn together right now.
Yeah. All for One remember Jiro saying it's your fault that my friends were crying.
Mm-hmm.
And it's his fault, whether directly or indirectly, that even his own pawns are crying. Whether it's indirectly through Toga or directly through Gigantomachia. And we've kind of had the evidence the last couple of episodes that those things that are built on fickle manipulation won't stand as long or stand as strong. I thought that it was such an interesting call out from All for One to look at Shinso's quirk and say that that's what he does. Like he made that connection himself.
Yeah. He stole Fierce Wings.
So,
which I'm like, I don't know if I were him and what he has, I don't think that that's necessarily what I would, but obviously that's who he had physical contact with at the time. It was Hawks. But out of the quirks that were nearby, I mean, definitely he probably would have preferred Dark Shadow.
It's devastating that Fierce Wings is gone. On one hand, I'm like, do you think that it was... Lemillion's quirk was taken in a very different way. I understand that. But do you think Eri could rewind Hawks back to a time that he had Fierce Wings?
So what's interesting is we bring up what rewind can do within this episode in terms of like, oh, your quirk stockpile must be external.
Yeah.
Therefore, when rewind doesn't affect the quirks and maybe the order that you received them. And we get this really cool shot of the sword, Hawk's sword, just like slicing up.
Yeah.
There's no, it's healing so quickly that you don't even see wound as it's slicing back up out of the arm. Would you be able to... if it's stolen, in this way, right. I don't think it's possible.
That's where, like, if I'm 60-40, 60% of me is, I don't think it could come back, because I think just by the nature of what the quirk of All for One is, deviates from that realm of returning a quirk using rewind. But I hope to be incorrect in that.
I mean, Hawks has been on my list of, like, is this person, the potential death list, the potential this person might not make it out of this fight. And he's with Endeavor on that list, especially because of something that we see, a flashback we see in this episode with the reporter of them being confronted by the public with the fact that they kind of let this happen.
Yeah.
Or like weren't able to stop it. And I think that it was narratively perfect to have happen with what was, especially in this episode, with not only bringing up that scene of them being confronted by the reporters and the looks on their faces, but a line that is said specifically when only Hawks's face is on the screen, and it's the reporter talking again, those that chose to stay, and then those that had no choice but to
stay. Yeah.
And the person that had no choice but to is the one getting his quirk stolen here.
Yeah.
And it's like, this person was, I don't know. I feel like that works really well narratively. That feels really good. Because, like, I like that there's not just death or permanent injury that keeps you out of work that is a risk factor for this job or being a hero or being in this universe. Because of the fact that quirks are so integral to identity in this universe, especially when we like think about the heteromorphs, quirks are so integral to your identity, whether it's a physical manifestation of a quirk or it's your power that makes it so you could be a hero. You can't be a hero, but you want to be, you know, all of the emotional stuff that comes with it. So losing that, you're literally losing yourself.
Yeah.
But would it feel good in someone like Hawks's case? If at the end of the day, would it almost feel like a relief if we think about him to Nagant? That this is her successor to doing awful things? Would it almost feel like your burden is relieved? And obviously just slightly because you're in a battle and you want to win and you don't want the enemy to win.
Maybe after the fact, like, you could potentially have a sense of, I'm more than just my quirk now because it's gone.
And this thing that let me be able to do awful things and be used is now gone.
Yeah. And
that I'm more than just my past. I mean, it could offer some relief after the battle. You know, you want to be useful during, but...
I would have never thought that Mineta would ever get the chance to directly talk to All for One, but it means so much to me. It means so much that he was like, take mine, you know?
Yeah.
Do you think that if All for One did take Dark Shadow, it would be that same Dark Shadow that communicates with Tokoyami, or would it be All for One's own, like, twist on it?
I don't know, because once you said that, all I could think was last episode when we
them
see
in
them
bed.
both in bed as little babies.
Like, because if it was the same one, and it seems as if it has its own will and works in tandem with Tokoyami, I'd imagine it'd try to fight against All for One.
I think it'd be similar to Machia or Kurogiri. These like two powerful entities in this world that were used by him and manipulated by him in different ways that we are seeing in the last couple episodes, somewhat breaking from that it would be something that has a will of its own, but that will of its own is being somewhat suppressed, and there's potential in this. Shigaraki is in the same way. Like, Shigaraki is literally within this hand prism that he's created for himself to protect himself from that manipulation and that control.
There was we had the line a couple times during the episode, and I'm going to paraphrase it, but it was along the lines of things aren't the worst that they could be.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about that for a minute because I think it's really fascinating. In one line of thinking, it's the essence of hope, right? Mm-hmm. But on the other end of things, it reminds me of All Might's final battle with All for One, where he needed to grasp at those smoldering flames that was all that was left there, because it is basically the worst case scenario, and there's almost nothing to be hopeful for and like look at as a light. But even in this case, it's the essence of these people that even when faced with 99% certainty that they might lose or will lose, they find and focus and hone in and yell about that 1% of hope. And I love that. So good.
I feel like as a viewer, I have hope. There's been times within which I think is just a compliment to my hero. I think that you need to have times where even the viewer is feeling like, wow, shit really sucks right now. I don't feel good about this, you know?
Yeah.
And then there needs to be times, and that's effective building of emotion. Like, they are effectively having the viewer feel how they want the viewer to feel here, which is how the characters are feeling. Like, yeah, things are bad, but we still have hope here, and the viewer feels that. Like, I feel that. And I think that's also because we're also seeing these characters push themselves to the absolute limit and be trying so hard and fighting so hard that we get these awesome action shots where literally their eyes are just white. You know, they're pushing their bodies to the absolute limit, which you're about to bring up a character that
So,
is pushing their body to the limit.
I could see that Mina's body, like her skin tone was changing alone,
Yeah.
and like that makes a hell of a lot of sense considering her quirk. It just changes the pigmentation of her skin. But what I
would've never
didn't see is look at her eye. Her eye from the pigmentation, like her
That's
eye,
insanity.
the actual eye changes color because like along with the pigmentation.
Okay, so hear me with this. If Hawks loses his wings with getting his quirk stolen, if Mina were to get her quirk stolen, would she go to being completely just
Not
like
pink.
non-pig skin?
I think
eyes
no,
not
definitely
black?
1,000%.
Interesting.
1,000%.
There's a
I think
few-
that she'd
there's
still
a
have
few
her
people-
horns, but
There's a few people that I would be intrigued to see what physical difference in terms of how their character design would look. More just like a what if. Like, is there a what if series where we just see what the creator of My Hero would depict different characters getting their quirk stolen looking like?
I love that though, that touch with Mina, because it really goes to convey something that's pretty hard to without using words, which is like how much you've put in versus how much we've in the past seen you put in. Like
It feels like sucking the life force.
We've already seen her go 100% and more, and this is even more than that. Like it's
literally, it feels like she's draining her life force
Yeah.
by that color retreating. It feels like she's literally, as we've had a lot in My Hero, that idea of like going 110%, 120%, you're like always over 100. It makes you think like this person, like, I don't know if an IV alone is gonna help her here.
I loved having Mina and Kirishima
I just
like
love their dynamic. I love the backstory that's been built with them. I love
and Gigantomachia.
every interaction that they've had, especially within a battle sense in the narrative, has been to further build on their initial past and narrative and their feelings towards each other. Kirishima feeling like Mina is his hero and this light in his life. And I just absolutely, I love them. I love when they're on screen together.
I don't remember seeing Kamui Woods with his hair and his helmet not on, but I trust
It's
you
somewhere.
that it has happened.
It's happened before, and I think it was like a quick thing, and it might have been within the last season, like season 6 even, because it feels more recent, and it feels like I could have almost made it up, you know?
Yeah.
It feels like I almost just remember being surprised, but that doesn't negate the fact that I was still surprised this time. Because I'm just so used to seeing the other, like him with, you know, the helmet kind of thing on.
We have a couple of cameos. We're going through the world.
Cool.
And it's from movies.
Yeah.
Like movie 1 for sure I know you've seen, right?
The one with the blonde girl.
Yeah,
we
Uncle
saw
Mike.
it in the movie theater together. I'm almost positive.
That's wild to think about.
I know.
The next people we see are 2 kids. I know of them from the second movie. You haven't seen the second movie. And then we see somebody who I can't remember, well, a past hero, but I can't remember these 2. And there's somebody else here, I believe, and I'm pretty sure they're from movie 3. I'm almost certain. I can't remember if I've seen that movie or if I've only seen the trailer for it.
Interesting.
And then we get like 2 other people.
These 2
I don't
kids.
recognize them at all, but it's really interesting. I wonder if they have some significance because they're paired with the others who are from movies.
I mean, it could be an Easter egg of people that might be, whether a parent of theirs or something, like they might be familial wise integral to whatever might be to come in the story. If they're not from one of the previous movies and it's not a cameo in that way, then they could be something that is foreshadowing.
Yeah, that's where All Might was. Interesting.
But if anything, it's just used as showing exactly what the business class kids have been trying to tell us for the past like 6 episodes.
Yeah.
That it's like, we need to be here and we're glad to be here. We know we're risking our lives. But the fact that we didn't get the footage last time and risk our lives, like we didn't do our job to help the heroes there. and the perception of the heroes by the public. And it's really cute to see that represented in both younger people and like older working people, who you think when someone's older and of working age, they're much more money minded, because I mean, why wouldn't they be? They have to pay rent. You know, obviously, in time of crisis, I don't know how rent is being paid, but the idea of people doing things not for the sake of money.
Yeah.
It really brings you the fact that these people became journalists really because they authentically wanted to be journalists. In the same way that the business class kids are risking their lives and in the business class because they want to be the ones getting this footage.
Yeah. I hated and loved the state that All for One was pushed to in terms of like flesh and bone. I imagine, like, through the lines of dialogue, our goal here was to keep him being like destroyed until Rewind would inevitably disappear him from existence.
Yeah, it brings you back to Star and Stripe, first episode of the season with Shigaraki, like trying to just completely annihilate his body over and over and over again in hopes that he can't heal.
I wonder where we go next. Do you think we go to Shigaraki and Deku, or
no? I said that so quickly. I think that's because at the beginning of this episode, I thought for sure we were gonna be with Toga and Uraraka, and so I feel like because of the fact that we have members from another site now coming to this site, I feel like what's happening at this site. And we have one of the news helicopters here instead of at the coffin in the sky, which honestly, I didn't realize that the helicopters were going to two different places. I thought that since they could see each other in the sky, they were both going to coffin in the sky and Deku's location. But it seems like they diverged, and the one that has the history, personal matters with Hawks and Endeavor is the one that is at the site where they're fighting All for One. I feel like so much is happening there, and we have characters from other sites converging there, that honestly at this point there's two places we could be. And how could you start the episode, other than the crying being the theme, how could you start the episode off with Toga and Uraraka in that way and not like bring me back there soon?
Dude, I remember right when the plan started, we were like, narratively, how the fuck are you going to be able to give us everything and it feel right? They have paced this wonderfully, and brought everybody together in such an interesting way.
And not once have I been actually mad about skipping to a different location.
Yeah.
Not once. Sometimes I would say jarring isn't the correct word, because jarring evokes that it's like uncomfortable or unfortunate. But I feel like when we've switched, there's been times that I've been like, oh my god, really invested, really hype in a certain location, and then we've switched.
Yeah.
And I would say that I don't have a word necessarily for how that feels, because like I said, jarring doesn't fit because it's not a negative. I feel like it's been a really effective in terms of like building this tension, but also reminding us of like how many different battlefields and things are going on. And I think the only way that it works is because there are characters that we are invested in each location
completely,
that we know really well, and villains and heroes on both sides. There are storylines that are being talked about that have been sown since the very beginning, that are being addressed at each site. Like Endeavor's over here, Shoto and Dabi are fighting, and Dabi's trying to get to Endeavor. And then Shigaraki and Deku, Bakugo and Deku. There are storylines that are being talked about at each location that we've already been introduced to and had emotional interactions with.
Yeah.
That is why it works to skip between sites.
I completely agree.
I don't really know where exactly we're going next, but that's purely because it's kind of hard to guess.
Yeah.
In actuality, like, we could be going back to Coffin in the Sky because we saw where the one newscaster was. Like, we actually see her in the sky above All for One. Therefore, could lead me to a great segue would be seeing the other newscaster find Deku.
Yeah.
You know, that could be a really great bridge between episodes.
Or like at the end of the episode with Hawks, we're talking about the evacuees. We could be going there and seeing what they're dealing with, or if All for One's trying to target them. It could go anywhere.
It really could. Is it illegal to look up who the voice actor for Young All for One is?
Yeah.
It's illegal?
Mm-hmm.
Fuck. It's on the tip of my tongue, I feel like.
Yeah?
Yeah, it was so familiar. I can't wait to find out after the fact. I mean, if I hear the voice more, I might be able to, like, figure out some other characters that person has voiced.
If you can figure out other characters that the person's
That's what
voiced, then look up the other character, it's not illegal.
That's all I want to know is what other characters. I don't care about I care about voice actors, the actual people behind it, and I want them to be paid as much as they should be paid. But I care about the other characters that they have voiced. That is what I want to know.
The curiosity.
That's the curiosity.
All right, that's all I have you.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we hope to see you next time.